All right. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 5 of On Second Thought with Mike and Matt. I'm Mike. He's Matt. And we have a special guest. Always talking over me when I say that. That's okay, Matt.
Sorry.
We have a special guest tonight, fellow podcaster. Let's welcome in Los. How we doing, sir?
What is up? How's it going?
Doing great. Doing good. Wednesday night, recording a little early. Some of us have other things on the agenda, so we wanted to get together. It's going to be a great episode. I'm excited about this. We teased it up last episode that we're going to talk about our mental and physical well-being as we get older. Not saying that you're getting older, Los, but you might be getting older.
I'm getting there.
Working your way. But before we
as long as that sultry voice of Los doesn't go away, he's got that nice, low, sultry voice that just kind of eases you and puts you to relaxation.
Everybody says that about me. And for years, I was like, oh, I hate my voice. But it's like, okay, I guess I got to work with it now and see where it takes me, if it takes me anywhere.
You really should. I'm not sure if you're up on Twitch streamers, but there's this guy out there, Pirate Software. He breaks all sorts of Twitch records, and he's got a very sultry radio voice. He almost sounds a little bit like Howard Stern, right?
He does. Yeah.
And the interesting thing, and since we're talking about mental and physical issues, he has a video of himself from I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, right? He had a totally different sounding voice. And I didn't know this, but men can go through puberty or second time. And so his voice started to change, and he went to his doctor, and his doctor's like, yep, this is a known thing. You can go through puberty again as you become an adult. And so his voice was much higher, and it dropped down to this, typical radio voice. And a lot of the people that tune into him say it's because of his voice. It's like that ASMR thing. They like the sound quality. It's just peaceful to him. So what Matt is trying to tell you is get your ass on Twitch. You can be a VTuber. You don't even need to have a camera on. You can, be like a chef VTuber. And
there you go.
In your voice, and you'll be raking in the money in no time.
Man, you know what? That is an idea. I never thought of it.
I'd like a 10% cut.
Yeah.
I'll remember of that.
Yeah. I'll always remember the little people. Don't worry.
Oh, nice.
So how we doing, Los? You're for people who are listening in, I think Matt and I know you from the Future Monkeys podcast, you and Beardy. Hello, Beardy. Yes. Hopefully he's listening.
I'm sure.
And like all of us, right? Podcast has a beginning and an end, and so that came to an end some years ago. And now you have your new podcast, Talking Place. How's that going?
Correct. Yeah. It's still Future Monkeys ending is still a sour subject for me. Beardy is just another Tuesday. Doesn't matter to him. He's over it. But it still hurts thinking about the Future Monkeys. I'm glad we were able to put them to rest though, and just like you guys now, I felt like I needed something, another outlet to keep there, and even though I'm not doing it the service that it deserves, I'm not on there all the time and updating every week or every 2 weeks or something like that. It's something there in case I want to get on it and get my voice out there for something, So that's pretty much what the Talking Place is for me. It's a interview topical type of show for 30 minutes. I'm talking to somebody about something specific, and not necessarily focused on anything in particular. It could be anything, and it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, it was a good listen. I think the last show you did, you had a woman on, and I apologize, I don't remember her name, but it was around a book club, right?
Yes, yeah. That was Sarah. That was my last episode, and I was up till 1 a.m. talking to her. She's from Australia, and and she's awesome peoples, and we've been, well, because for all of basically 2023, I was in a really heavy book state of mind. Like I was not playing games for a long time, and I was wanting something to get into, and I like got into buying these special edition books and all that, and reading books and all that, and more, and I was able to go through a whole bunch of books that year. And it's something I put my mind to. I wanted to get through it, and I found this really awesome community, and it's something that she's the presidente on there for the Discord. So it's an awesome community for book people and all that stuff. So, and I took a step back from there because hello Steam Deck, and I'm getting back into gaming now. So I'm I'm switching it up for this year. But yeah, that was a fun show I had with her.
Good. Excellent. Well, Matt, we'll have to do an episode on why we're not book readers. Maybe you are a book reader. I think you might read on your Kindle.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But I have historically been a bad book reader. We should dive into that at some point. And Los, I'll have to go back to listen to that episode. Did you have any sort of topics in there, like how you got into reading? Because my big thing with reading is I fucking fall asleep. Right? This, you know what I mean? If I get this like tome in front of me, and it is like 600 pages of dense words. By the time I get to like page 30, like there's drool hanging out of my mouth, I'm dozing off, I'm getting paper cuts on my forehead. It's an ugly scene. So I probably have not read a book front to back. I would say late 90s.
That's a nice little streak you got going on.
Yeah.
It's
a long time. And I have tons of books. I have all sorts of like nonfiction books about people in punk rock and sports figures that it would hold my interest. But I don't want to take up the whole show on that. But I would like to get some pointers maybe about do I start first with like just a kid's book? Should I just like Charlotte's Web? Should I just hit like should I just hit like start there like at the foundation and then like work my way up?
Well, if you want to get into it real quick, I'll just say audiobooks is the way to go.
Well, I was our buddy Maniac, hello Jay. Jay is big into audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
And Shiny Things, hello to what's Detroit guy. I'm blanking on his name now. Shiny Things. Anytime we'd have to ready up, but audiobooks, right? I'm listening to the audiobook and then something else comes on in the room and distracts me, and I fucking missed the last like 15 minutes. So I'm long story short, easily distracted when that happens. But thanks for being here, Los. We're looking forward to the conversation tonight.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just say it's awesome having you guys back. Like ever since you first told me, and we were working behind the scenes on it, and I was helping you guys out. I was excited to hear that you guys are coming back, and it's like the topic is going to be now and all that. It's like we're getting up there in age, and we're getting older, and it's something that it's you tell somebody who's a normal person that you got a podcast, and they'll probably look at you funny for being your age and talking on the internet like a bunch of nerds, but it's a good thing that you guys are doing. You felt like you still had the fire in you, and that's awesome that you took the step to get on here.
Yeah, Matt, you want to talk about that briefly?
Yeah, I mean, I brought up Mike, I don't know, a while ago about, hey, we was gaming one night and we were just shooting the shit like we normally do. And I was like, you ever feel about getting into do a podcast again? And he's like, funny you mention that, because I was kind of thinking about that. And we kind of just grew on it from there, and it's nice having that break from bad fodder figures and everything, and getting done with that, and just kind of starting fresh, starting with a new idea. So Yeah, we just kind of talked about it over and over for a little while, and then thanks Lowe's for getting involved and with the logo and stuff and helping out choose a name and everything. And I evolved from there, from us talking one night, gaming and that. And I was like, we should just podcast just normal stuff, no real agenda in that, and just kind of go out there and chit chat almost and record it.
Yeah, some of our gold, unfortunately, does. We should just, you know how they do that, like Hard Knocks for like the NFL, and they just have cameras rolling. Someone really needs to just have like the audio just constantly rolling between us two dimwits. Because some of the nuggets that you would pull out of there would be great. I know someone submitted I think it was Mafia submitted a question of the week about comedians, which we'll get to in a couple episodes down the road. I'm not forgetting about you, but like that's my favorite type of comedy. Is like just people that it's not pre-planned, it's not rehearsed, right? Just sort of off the cuff. That's sort of the comedy that I'm drawn to, and hopefully, we make some of you laugh out there from time to time. So yeah, let's get into a little housekeeping here real quick first. This is really going to be a part 2 show. Denny from Tap the Craft, our other podcasting buddy, has reached out to us, and he'd like to partake in this topic as well. So Denny is going to be on our next episode. I know he wanted to be guest numero uno. We had Los already lined up, and Los helped us with the naming and the artwork, so we just thought it was appropriate to put Los to the front of the line.
You're making me feel like I am a line skipper here.
No. We already had in the line. We already had you lined up. But Denny will be on next episode, and I think it'll be good for Denny because he'll be able to hear some stuff that we're already talking about, and then he'll be able to sort of chime in and give his opinions after he's already heard some stuff from us. So that'll be good. And then, like I said, those questions of the week that some people have been submitting, we'll get to those in future episodes. I got them saved, so no worries. So before we jump into things, I feel like I have 2 Destiny aficionados in front of me here with Los and Matt. And there's been some seismic news that has come out yesterday or today about this whole new subclass that combines other classes. So just very briefly, Matt and Los, just, give me your opinion. Does this break the game? Is this the ending of Destiny 2? Is that the agenda here? Is this to give people what they want, a swan song, and then they're going to announce something else after this new thing comes out in June?
I think the answer to that, to all of what you said, is yes. Each one of those questions. I think they are purposely breaking the game to give people what they want, give people some fun times, good times, go out there and just wreck some shit up. They got this. They're combining the dark and the light classes together. You can pretty much pick and choose from all the subclasses what you want to do and what you want to play with. The builds that you can have are pretty much endless. They're letting some of these builds you can take advantage of some exotics that you haven't used in a while. Because some of the perks and stuff on them. Well, now you can take use of some of those again. So yeah, I think they're going out in a blaze of glory here. And the only thing we don't know is if there will be like a Destiny 3 or just a Destiny whatever. There's no firm answer on that or time frame on that. But right now, I think they're just telling people, here you go. Here's what you wanted all these years. All right, here you go. Go play. Have fun.
And this can be used in Crucible or just in the PvE part of it?
I think for everything.
Everything. Okay.
Right, Lewis? Have you heard? I'm pretty sure it's everything.
All right. Let me just preface this by I have taken myself away from Destiny, like all aspects. I get the slight urge every so often, and I would have to fight myself to not go down that road. And it was almost marriage ruining here.
Wow.
Levels. It was
Matt.
Yeah, wow.
Matt.
Wow.
Matt.
Wow.
It was
wow. Yeah, wow.
I remember it was I had gotten back into it, and I like I was into it for a few days, and I told the wife I was like, so I'm playing Destiny again, and I swear, like her look and the feel that I had when I said the words that they came out of my mouth, it felt like I was admitting like seeing an ex-girlfriend and like having lunch with her. Like, it was like at that level. But but like from what you guys just said and what it sounds like, a big reason why I took myself out this last time, because it was like it was, what was the expansion for last year?
Lightfall.
Okay, yeah. I played Lightfall. That was the last one that I played. I don't think I finished it, but I played it around that time, and I was like, catching up with a lot of stuff from before that I missed. But when I stopped playing it around there, it was because I knew they were reaching the end. Like, I knew that this is not going to last forever, and the whole point of the game is to, like, build up your character, collect all the stuff, and keep everything, and like, to me, I thought to myself, why am I going to sit here, stress myself out, and play like, this game like it's a job, and try and collect all these things, and then they're going to be like, okay, Destiny 2 is over now, and nothing's going to transfer over, like,
I could see the problem there. You'd be playing the game, they'd be taking stuff away from you, and you would be divorced. It'd be a hell of a combination.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Then you
like,
get nothing.
Who am I going to blame but myself?
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely sounds like it's a last hurrah. I don't know where they're going with it. I know that they are reaching their 10-year plan with Destiny that they had, from the get-go. When Destiny 1 came out, it was like the whole big thing that they had this whole 10-year plan to keep the game going and keep it going like the way it is, the way that they were planning and all that stuff. So I want to say that is this year or next year.
I think it's this year.
It's this year, yeah. So they're reaching that point now. So I don't doubt that they'll be closing the chapter on it. I don't know if there's going to be a Destiny 3. If there's a Destiny 3, maybe I'll jump in on it, since it'll be like, a fresh start for everybody.
It's gonna be a turn-based collectathon. Don't worry, it'll be it'll be a
microtransactions everywhere.
A roguelike.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry, it'll be a roguelike.
Yeah. Battle Royale.
Well, it sounds like to me like this might be a poor analogy, but if you can remember back to like elementary school and you had to play like kickball or like dodgeball, and you had like one team on the other side of the other team, and you might have had some bad players, so you really couldn't be the team that you wanted. But occasionally the teacher said, free for all. Everybody just go nuts, grab a ball, and the last one standing, just go in there and wreck shop, like Matt said. So even that might make. I didn't do much with the last expansion, so maybe this will get me in there as well. But I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on that because it was a topical story. But really, the meat and potatoes of this episode is going to be around mental and physical health, gentlemen. Before I dive in too much, I just want to have a little disclaimer here. You guys can say whatever you want, but I'm not an expert, right? These are just things that I'm going to be talking about that have been successful for me, or I'm finding some success in. I'm not here to shame anyone. Anybody listening, this is not like preaching like you got to do this. Everybody's on their own sort of personal journey with this type of stuff. There's no right or wrong. These are just my experiences, and it's very much a work in progress. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're not. Yeah, this is our journey, our personal experiences, what's worked for us, and our health conditions could be totally different from what you got going on. So consult your doctor or whatever first before doing anything.
Yeah, this isn't podcast MD here, right? But we can sort of talk about, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and what we think we need to work on, right?
Yeah.
I was telling the guys, maybe we start with the physical stuff because that's a little bit more cut and dry. I know I've been doing a lot of talking. Does anybody sort of want to kick it off and talk about, what they're doing now that we're hitting middle age to sort of increase activity? Or maybe you're like, hey, I look in the mirror and I think I'm, $1 million. I don't need to do shit. Someone want to kick off and say what they're doing or not doing?
I'm just the opposite right now. I need a change right now. I am in I won't say dire straits, but I need. For a while there, I was doing great, and then middle of COVID and going back to work, everything went downhill, and it's like, son of a bitch. I need to get back on track with my exercise, eating better, just being a better person overall is what I need to do, because I've gained a bunch of weight back, and I went to the doctor a couple weeks ago, and it was a horrible visit. Just my test, everything came back great, except for my blood sugar and my A1C was up high. And A1C, for anyone that doesn't know, blood sugar is for diabetes and that. So it was up high, the highest it's been in since I started doing stuff back 2018, 2017, whatever, when it was up real high. And I saw nutritious and all that stuff. So I'm slowly getting back on track with that diet and exercise and lifestyle change. And now is good timing with the weather starting to get nice. It makes it easier to go out and do that.
Now, you're not trying to climb Mount Everest here in day one. So you're easing. So what I found successful, I dropped about 55 pounds in the last year. It's just,
you can tell by looking at you. You look awesome.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate that. Every day you build upon something, right? So what I try to tell Matt is when he says, all right, I got to do something because the doctor says, you got to get on top of this. I was like, well, don't all of a sudden, I got this guy at work, the CEO, right? He's a fat guy. And what did he do? He joined a gym on day one. And I'm like, this SOB is going to be, he's going to be out of the, he's going to
fail.
I say, Los, jump in here when you want, but first week, 20 minutes of some sort of calisthenics a day, right? Maybe 5 days a week you do it, and then do some, walking. But, I got a little routine that I started with, and I just kept on building and building and building upon that. Los, any thoughts on that? Is any sort of steps that you're taking or doing?
Well, it's for me, it's the same thing. Like I feel like I've gone downhill for a lot. It is numerous factors with my end. It's just stress basically is the forerunner of it. Just everyday random, just little things that pile up into big things. It's nothing crazy here. Nothing going on that would be life-changing, direness going on, but it's just little things here and there that get me worked up, and they get me and then and that's my problem. I'm a stress eater, and it it gets to me like that. So I want to try to get going. I mean, we bought bikes probably about 2 years ago for the first time in my adult life. I haven't had a bike since I was in high school. So we're looking forward to figuring out a schedule to get on there and just ride around the neighborhood and go that route and see how we could get that going and maybe get into a routine for that. The behind stress comes time for the next issue.
Yeah.
For me, the next thing that stops me from really getting in there, because we got the 4-year-old here at home, and she is very much a lively 4-year-old. So right. It's hard to find time to do much of anything. you know, during the
Yeah,
day.
that's a good point, because we got married 20 years ago. It'll be 20 years ago this June. And so I calculated that I put on approximately 5 pounds every year for 20 years. So when I got married, I was like 170. My fattest, I was 270. And when you think about that, 5 pounds a year, it's like, that's not like gorging yourself. Just like I'm fucking rolling up a full fucking, pizza and eating it like a burrito,
Yeah.
But when we had kids that were very young, like a 4-year-old, I always found myself eating their leftovers, like not letting it go to waste, like cleaning their plate. They want something. I'm eating it at the same time as I'm making it for them, right? Eating quick and something that's not good for me, because you know what? I got 2 other kids that are older, and this 4-year-old, just crapped themselves, and I got to eat something, and now I got to do some changing, It was just, like you said, the time and the convenience of just grabbing, Burger King on the way home rather than going home and making a salad adds up over time, right? And so,
and that is the worst, dude. That is, I think, the biggest culprit for us, because, like I said, our time is like, it really hurts us, like. Me and my wife, we're both constantly feeling like we don't have time to do anything. She gets out of work. She gets out of work at 4:30. She works at home. I mean, that's a blessing, but she gets out at 4:30. The teenager gets home for 30. And if we have something to do that's after work, after school, there's zero time to have dinner at home. So it's like we'd have to go get something from out, because that's like the only logical thing to do. Or we're gonna be eating, eating late, and that's not good either.
Oprah says don't eat after 7 p.m.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My father, he's got a lot of things to work out for himself, but he is pushing. He's pushing 67, I think.
I thought you were going to say 600 pounds.
No.
I heard the 6, pushing 6. I was like...
yeah, it's like, oh, no.
No, he's pushing 67. And he recently, last year, he had what we are like 95% sure was a stroke. But he's like, straight from the island. He doesn't care nothing about nothing. So it's like he called me up. Well, it was my daughter. My daughter was like, I want to call grandpa. Like, really adamant about it. Out of nowhere, like, 8:00 at night. So it was like really weird. And we're like, okay, so let's call grandpa. And we called him up, and he was like, yeah, I'm not feeling too good. And for the past 2 days, like, I've been really messed up and really dizzy and really like shaky, and like I can feel like a numbness on my side of my face and all this stuff. And then me and the wife are looking at each other like what else is it? Because it doesn't sound good. And one thing led to another, and like an hour later we were at the hospital with him and doing testing, and he kicking and screaming the entire time like a toddler, like he did not want to go. And, I had to sit there with him, and I had to make sure that he answered everything truthfully, because, at that age, he doesn't give a shit about nothing. And, he got tests done, he got blood work done. Nothing was found, but it had been at that point like 4 or 5 days since it first happened. So they said like, whatever, will be out of his system or something like that. But they gave him this whole big list of like things that he needs to be eating, because his like, his sugars are up for diabetes too. He's like really close to that and all that. And like all these warning signs, all the like the stroke, the near everything. And he is still eating like crap. Like he's eating the fried food like every day that my mother makes, because, she's Puerto Rican, they're Puerto Rican, and that's what they do. And, they're always eating out, and he's like in the mindset, like ever since, I was a kid, he's in the mindset of 3 square meals a day And no matter what, like he could get up at like 11 and he needs to have breakfast. And then 12 o'clock comes. Okay, it's lunchtime. I got to have lunch now. You know, like.
I can totally relate to that. I wake, I don't know if it comes from the way I was raised or just, just learnings or whatever. But I wake up and I immediately eat breakfast. My kids don't eat breakfast. My wife doesn't eat breakfast, but I have breakfast, I have lunch, and I have dinner. I have to have my 3 meals. And I think that's a bit of an old school thing.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And then the snacking, and if you're having the 3 meals and then you're snacking in between those meals, that's how shit can pile on. So you got to make good choices. Now, again, like we said at the top, it's your own life, it's your own journey. So if your father says, you know what, this is what I want to do, and the results be damned, if I'm gonna leave this thing as as shitty as I can be, that's my choice, right? It sounds like the 3 of us, though, that's not like what we're after, right? It sounds like for us, like we're maybe either seeing people in our lives who aren't taking care of themselves, or like you guys have had some, medical issues or medical history in the family. I certainly have the GERD and the acid reflux. I had my gallbladder out 2 years ago. So we've all experienced things, and then all of a sudden you look up. I think for me, I looked up and I saw myself in the mirror, and I wasn't happy with what I saw. I go on these nice family vacations, and I quickly get tired. My feet hurt. I can't do things. I can't keep up with the wife when she wants to go out and do stuff. And then I was just tired of, the GERD, the acid reflux, flaring up. Now that still happens from time to time. I think I've done some irreversible damage inside. So that's just something I got to live with. But I try to take care of the other things to keep it at bay so it doesn't become this issue that's going to, sort of take me out in the long run.
Yeah, I think that's, I need to, I think the biggest thing is it's like you said earlier, is some short steps that you do to get there. Like I just need to get off my ass and walk around the block. Okay. Like, all right, fucking walk around the block, and just kind of go from there, and just, it's a slow progression from what happened last time. It's slow, okay. And I think one of the motivators for me is, when last time I went to the doctor, he's like, well, your blood sugar and your A1C net. He's like, you're going to be on medicine. But I'm already on blood pressure pills. All right, I hate taking medicine. I don't want to be on any more medicine. So that's a motivator enough in me to go and do something to try and improve and help. And going to the bathroom and getting back and you're out of breath, that's a fucking bad sign, So there's it's
how about
small steps you have to do.
Going up. How about this? This might be TMI, but going upstairs for an evening date, if you know what I'm getting after, and you've gone up 12 steps, not 12 flights, 10 steps, and you're out of breath. How is that? How is that attractive to your spouse who's waiting to make love to you, and you're fucking out of breath?
Well, you already have the heavy breathing going on. Well, so you got that going for you.
Yeah. Los, you say you got the 4-year-old there. Sometimes they are, I don't want to say manipulated, but sometimes they will join in. Is there any way that you can do, like, start 15, 20 minutes of calisthenics? Hey, we're going to do some whatever exercises that you feel that you could do. Let's do some of these together for 20 minutes. Or is it just total chaos that you wish you wouldn't be able to do anything like that?
No, she would be completely down to do whatever. It is a matter for me. It's a matter of like a mental hurdle. Yeah. We're sitting here, we're separating the mental and the physical well-being talk, Yep. But really it goes hand in hand.
Yes. I think that's a good it's a good segue. And it sounds simple, but it's harder than it is. And this is what I've learned. Anything worth something of purpose or meaning requires hard work. So it's easier for me to go in the kitchen, grab something unhealthy than it is for me to be on a diet and watch my weight. Now, I go to therapy for anger management issues. It's easier for me to lash out, whether I'm really angry or it's performant. Listen to me roar. Listen how mad I am. Listen how upset I am. It's easier to do that than it is to think something through. Okay?
Mhm.
It's easier for me to spend money on something than it is for me to enjoy what I already have. It's easier for me to complain about things than it is for me to look at the big picture and see what a great life I have, right? It's easier for me to be anxious and catastrophize and think of all these bad things that are going to happen rather than just think things through and understand that things are going to be okay, right? So when we talk about the mental, I think the bad habits that we all can fall into is sometimes because we take the easiest route in that moment.
It is 100% true.
And I think one of the issues I have is work. Work for me can be somewhat stressful. A lot going on, a lot of responsibilities, dealing with a lot of stuff in that. And one thing I've gotten into a bad habit of doing that I need to stop or something, or just talk to Barb. On the way home from work, I'll stop at a bar and have a couple of drinks before going home to kind of mentally clear my head. It's like a buffer before going home, and because I don't want to bring that shit home with me, so I kind of drop it off there in a sense, and then go home and just go on with whatever.
Do you feel you put that work on? Do you feel you put that work stress on yourself? Do you feel like you've been there 28 years, Matt? It feels like you're an institution there, that all of a sudden Matt Helmer's job is not on the line. You must be doing a good job to keep yourself there for 28 years. Is that stress self-induced, that you're getting yourself worked up? Because I talk to my wife about work all the time, and she's like, why do you care so much? She's like, you died tomorrow, they'd fucking hire someone for half the cost you make. They don't, you're just a number. And so sometimes I have to get in that mindset that my work does not encompass who I am 100% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There is that, I'm where I work is somewhat like that, but it's not 100% like that. I mean, they care for people and stuff like that. You might disagree, Mike, because I don't have a hard time taking vacation and stuff like that. But there's also this sense of pride I have at work, where people come to me, they look at me, and they come to me for advice and stuff, or during meetings and that I can become a team leader and stuff. So I think a lot of that weighs on me too, stuff like that. Barb's almost the same way. She says when you get too involved with stuff like that, and
yeah, I mean,
I do, but I was raised, my dad. I was raised that way too with my dad.
Yeah,
he was a hard worker. He always worked, and was, you be proud of what you do and all this stuff and that, and work hard, blah blah blah. I don't know.
But he didn't say work hard so it kills yourself and ruins your mental and physical health.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. So you got to.
Times are different now compared to back then.
They are. Yeah, and you see that with the younger generation there. Sure. They come in, and I'm not saying anything that's bad against you, but there are more like, okay, well, there's my time also. There's my personal time I got to do stuff with, and my immediate manager, he's good with that. With if something comes up and I gotta go do something or whatever, he's cool with go do what you gotta do, leave, whatever. But I don't know. There's just
so. I think a good jumping in point here is you've told me, and I said, you said you wanted to talk about it on the show, so I'm not revealing anything. But we talk about talking to someone besides us and your wife, talking to a therapist. And Lois, please chime in if you've ever been in therapy or you thought about being in therapy. I've been in and out of therapy I would say about 10 years. Why do I stop? Because I feel like, I'm not getting much out of it. I think a lot of times I stop because I had to go in person. And I think one thing that's been great for me with the pandemic is the whole telehealth movement. So now that I can just do it via like a Zoom session, it's a godsend for me. But in the past, when I've gone to therapy, a lot of medication, people, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I would go for it. And just bluntly, I would be on stuff and it would just be hard for me to perform sexually. Your senses would get so numbed that you just couldn't fucking get it up. And I was like, if there's anything I enjoy more in life is sex. And so I had to get off that stuff real fucking quick. But
yeah,
I am back on therapy now, about a year. I was telling Matt, he's asking me like, why do you go, or when did you know you had to go? And for me, we went to a family vacation in August last year. We went to New York, all over like the Adirondack region, and then we went to the Baseball Hall of Fame. And my oldest son is very much like me. He likes punk rock and hardcore music, and I didn't agree with the shirt that he was wearing into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I just thought I had some imagery that people maybe wouldn't understand, and I got real mad, like really mad, and I started punching the car in front of my 3 kids and just completely lost my shit. And that's anytime I go to therapy, it's when I bottom out. And I felt that was like a real fucking low point for me. Really embarrassing, a remorseful moment. And so luckily, I'm with a person now that I have a good rapport with. And, there's better days than there have been, but there are still days where the anger gets, and the stress, the anxiety gets, the better of me. So I'm not like, it's just a work in progress, but I feel it's beneficial for me to talk to someone on a weekly basis, just to have someone who's really got no stake in the game, but sit there to listen and help me how to process my feelings, give me some strategies on how to think things through rather than just lash out. And, it sounded simple to me, but it was when it hit me, like sometimes maybe you're doing this just for performance sake, right? Or you're just doing it out of laziness. Like I said, it's easier to fucking roar than it is to sit there and think things through, like a rational person.
Yeah, it's it is very hard to find any sort of balance with it. And it's the whole therapy and thing. I've never done it, but I'm very well aware that I would highly benefit from it. It is something that we've talked about before, that we should look into it. We need to do it. And part of me thinks like, I got this. I know my faults. I know where I'm doing wrong. I know what I should be doing, but then the other part is very much, like poking and nagging and like, yeah, right, whatever, fucker. Like, you don't got this. You don't have it, So it's like, it's very much always a battle side, between 2 sides. And you don't know who you really are. You don't know which side is really you. You don't know which one is the dominant one. You don't know which one is the one that really is holding the reins all the time. And I think therapy would be something that would clear that space, for anybody. It's something that you need that outside interference. You need that outside, communication to sit there and see what it is you're thinking and be like, okay, but this too, like, look at this side and look at that, and you have your wife, we have our wives and stuff like that, but really though, it's like those are extensions of ourselves,
and it's not their job to be our therapist. Right?
Yeah.
They do a lot of things to keep the family together. They got their own lives, their own careers. It's not their it's not, they'll try to help in these situations, but ultimately they're not schooled to be a therapist, and it's not their job. I know, Matt, you had some times out at the farm, some self-reflective moments.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you want to share that. I think it was an important thing. You said, you thought about how you've treated people in the past and how you try to let some of that go. And I don't know if you want to pick it up from there.
Yeah. I've, Mike, I don't want to say anything, but, like Mike, you say you get all upset and mad about stuff like that. And I don't know, there's times where I would get so pissed off and I would start yelling at people and just get pissed off at people and it was stuff that was beyond their control. They didn't have a control over it or something like that. And I'm yelling at them. I was like, and I was going, what the hell am I yelling at these people for? They've got no control over it. They can't do anything with it, or get mad at just some stupid shit that would happen. And I was like, what's the point? It's not making it any better. Like you're learning, Mike. Like you found out, it's not making anything better to get all hot-headed and pissed off. It makes you feel good for maybe a minute or two, but then it's like, well, what did that solve? It didn't solve anything. So going out to the property, going to the farm, I go out there a lot by myself, maintain, mow, and do stuff like that. And
you're talking about the lawn, not your personal hygiene.
Yeah. But I mean, it is a good place to go do some, some manscaping out there because no one's around. But
all the clippings blow away too.
Yeah, exactly. No trace.
The mental image.
But then at night I'll go, and make a fire, and I'm sitting around a fire, I listen to the radio and that, and I self-reflect on different things, and I think about stuff, and it's a nice mental state to be in. Can be. There's a lot of stuff that I think about with myself out there, and stuff in the past that's happened, and stuff that could happen in the future, and how I might be able to help change things maybe, or do something. And I go out there I was like, oh man, Noah's getting a new car and the insurance is going to be this, and then I get out there and I was like, well, all right, it's going to work out. All right, I charge Noah a little more money or this, and I was like, what I'm getting upset over stupid stuff I got no control of, and it just nice to kind of reflect and think about that before just going off the rails about something.
You mentioned go ahead, Los.
But I don't know, just real quick, my top of my head thought here. I would say, being at the farm by yourself, probably not the best place to be,
leave the guns at home.
Head. Yeah. No, like just getting in your head and worrying about stuff and doing all this, and you like you're out there by yourself, and next thing you know, it's like, where's Matt? He hasn't been.
Well, okay, so all right, so another disclaimer here.
Bob's got a GPS device on his ankle, so she can track him at any time.
Yeah, and a little disclaimer here before this goes off the rails. I've never felt that way.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like, your heart giving out or something like that.
Well, dude, I can go
and worrying.
I can walk up the fucking stairs here, and that's going to happen. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's.
I was not thinking about the other thing. I was thinking about more.
Right. But just, to be clear, that's yeah.
You mentioned Noah, and we all have kids here, and I think I didn't need to go to therapy to understand this, but it's something I try to dig into in therapy is how much of this is learned behavior and how much of this is myself. Mm-hmm. My father's a hothead. His father his father was a hothead. My uncles all on my father's side. This is no excuse. I'm not saying that the reason I am who I am is because of them, but we're all genetics play a big part into this, what we've seen. And the thing that really hurts is the children have seen this behavior, and where do we break the cycle?
Yeah. It really sucks, you know, because you're here, like, you know, both of you with your stuff hanging out. I mean, not literally, but you know, it's for me, it's the same thing. You know, I have anger issue too. You know, like I have my own demons that I have to fight like all the time for like the same things like that you say. You know, like the same, just like little things will be ticking me off for whatever, or you know, I get attitude from somebody, or you know, even my teenager would be like, you know, with his with his know-it-all, you know, top of the world, you know, self, like, you know, there's been a really hot point lately in this house. You know, it's just like I have my own anger issues a lot, and that's a big reason why I would go to therapy myself. And like you just said, my father is the same way. I remember growing up, and I remember my father having like a really short fuse with a lot of stuff. Like I always felt like I was not really safe to, well, not safe is not a good word. I felt like I was not comfortable, you know, saying something or doing something, because it would be something that he would, like, you know, have a short fuse on, and he would, you know, get mad at me. He never hit me or anything. But you know, it was just like, you know, raising voice and getting mad about stuff. And that was enough. And you know, knowing me, and like I've said to my wife a lot, like, I do not want to be like my father. I don't want to, you know, grow up to be that type of father for my kids. But here we are, you know, in the same boat. Like, you know, like it's history repeats itself. And you know, she says the same thing about her mother. You know, like she says that her mother doesn't have, she, like, you know, her mother has qualities that she doesn't want to have too. But you know, she winds up doing the same thing. You know, and genetics is a bitch sometimes, and it just sucks. But you gotta do what you gotta do to try and break it, like you said.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree 100% with what you said there, Los. Yeah,
it's tough, right? And again, I think whether it's subconsciously or consciously, we fall back on what we know and what we've seen and what we've learned, right? And again, it gets back to what I was saying. I'm saying for myself, I'm not saying for you two guys. For me, it's the easiest thing it's easier to do that. It takes work to stop yourself in the tracks. You know, Bill Burr, there's a thing, you know, his comedy line, you know, with talking about his wife, like he's at a restaurant and he's getting annoyed because someone's on their phone like 3 seats over. And she says, "How can you go from 0 to 100? And he didn't say bitch, but he said something along the line, "Bitch, I'm fucking operating at like 60 or 70. Like, what are you talking about going from 0 to 100? And
that's a big of a jump.
Yeah. And so I think, you know, that's something I talk about in therapy. I feel like my baseline, I operate, and I know it's not healthy, but I think I operate somewhere between a 5 and a 7. Right. And so it can be like that, to go from 7 to 10, 7 to 10, or 7 and higher. And
that sounds pretty accurate for me too.
and I know that's, you know, why we've been in past therapy sessions where people have, you know, prescribed drugs or whatever to sort of get you at a lower baseline where you're just, you know, comfortably numb, right? That you can sort of, but I just didn't feel like I was myself in that, in that, you know, and that's when people start self-medicating. You know, gummies are fun every now and then, but I have such like equilibrium issues that I just can't take gummies all the time and self-medicate. You know, they do have their time and place where they're nice and fun, but it's just not something I can do, you know, recreationally all the time.
Yeah,
I'm really sensitive. I feel like if I take allergy medicine, I'm knocked the fuck out. Like, it's like I couldn't imagine what, you know, a gummy would do to me. Like, I'd probably be out for a week, not be able to do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something like I feel like there's a lot of like stuff that stems from other stuff. For me, I'm a stay-at-home father. I've been, in my position at my job of stay-at-home father, of domestic engineer for about 14 years now. And, it's like it's never easy. It's never something that's like, like, oh, you're a stay-at-home father, you can do whatever you want. Like, yeah, no, that is not what it is. And it's like my stresses from the day get built up, so much that, like, I got 3 kids at home who, like, one of them is a teenager. It's like against his religion to clean up after himself. And then the 10-year-old, he is diagnosed ADHD and he's homeschooling. So he's here all the time and, doing his thing. And then there is the 4-year-old that is, like, the typical crazy 4-year-old all over the place. I have my responsibilities I give, like, myself, like, to try and maintain the house. And I gotta, I do dinner, mostly every day, hopefully, if we're not having to go out or whatever. And, like, just trying to keep my wife happy in between, like, her being at work and, doing whatever it is that she's doing, because, she's always stressing out with work and stuff. So I try my best to try and keep things easy for her, but trying to balance everything, trying to keep everything juggled between keeping the house clean to the point where you're not tripping over stuff, or you're able to, like, put something down and not have to walk 3 rooms in order to find an empty space somewhere to put something down, or, like, getting dinner going to have it done at a certain times because we have something to do. And, it's like stress, this, and then all while trying to, give time to the 4-year-old who's always wanted to play, always wanted to do something, and always wanting to, like, hang out. And it's like, it's hard. And that's why, like you said, Mike, that it was, that you feel like you're operating like a 5 to 7, out the gate.
Yeah.
And it's like that's why I feel like I'm there. Like, cause it's just, like, wired. When I wake up, it's like, okay, I got to do this. And then, it's like one thing after another. And then, like, one slight thing that goes off or that is not done or is not whatever. It's like, okay.
Yep.
That's when it starts to blow up.
That's my slippery slope, the catastrophizing. When I got this thing, I know how I want things to go. Any slight deviation from that plan sets me off. And I know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know before, I think we've talked about that you feel there's also sometimes a stigma of being a stay-at-home parent. And then there has to be some inherent stress too of just being a single, like, one income house, right? Like, how are we gonna make ends meet? Now we have 2 kids, a little bit older. We made a decision to have a 3rd child, so any child ups the expenditures. So there's got to be some of that, like building up as well, right?
No, that being a stay-at-home parent and, one income household, and, even, like, to top it all off, here in Florida, which is, like, is quickly turning into, like, the worst place to be for, as far as money goes, for how much it costs to live here versus what you get. It's like, it could be an entire different show on its own. That is just, like,
yeah, I can imagine, because at some point, the kids are going to get older, and then you're like, all right, what do I do for work? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Am I a qualified candidate for job? Like, what job are they? What am I going to? All that type of stuff, right?
But you see, it's like, if I was hiring somewhere and somebody came in and was like, and I had the knowledge that I have now, and somebody came in like, hey, I've been a stay-at-home parent for so many years, and I've done, I haven't done anything for work, but I'm looking for a job now. I'd be like, you're hired.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
just,
there's there's cool bosses like myself, and sounds like you that would, I've hired a lot of people. I don't look like where they go to school. I look more like, what's their background? Can they do the job? Are they going to fit in right? Are they going to be a drain on resources? Are they a good cultural fit? And, as much as I hate to throw that word around, but you don't want to bring in someone that's all of a sudden going to, disrupt the whole apple cart, right?
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
So there's other things besides where you went to school, and besides your background. Do you have aptitude to pick up things quickly? I don't need someone like Matt Helmer who's going to work 100 hours a week, because then I'll have the other problem on the other end. But I am looking for someone who when they're there 40 hours a week, they're attentive and can get the job done, and team player and all that happy horse shit, right? I know we're getting long here. Any sort of closing thoughts? I know as the host here, I do a lot of the talking, but I want to make sure I give you two both the floor. Anything that we didn't discuss around this topic that you want to get off your chest and discuss?
There was something. I just want to, because I was trying to figure out what it was. I forgot it, and then I just remembered it, so I want to say it before I forgot it again. To Matt. When you were talking about how you take the stresses from work, and that it's something that you got to go out to a bar to like release, to get it off, and all that stuff. And it's like, if there's one thing that Mike hit the nail on the head, like there's no reason to like give yourself the stress or for a job that is not really, like, they're not gonna mourn you not being there. They're just gonna hire somebody else because they need the job filled. It's like, if there's one thing that the pandemic taught me, it's that everything the way that it was before the pandemic, and how like it transitioned back into it after it doesn't need to be like that. Like, there doesn't need to be a stressful office environment, like mostly everybody could like do the work from home. They could do it like less stress. They could do it with like, less worry, that they could get their jobs done, but it's like, it's hard to maintain, I guess, like status quo for companies when it comes down to it, so it's like everybody always wanted to get back into the office and get back into a routine that there was before, but it's like, you don't have to. The pandemic proved that you could carry on a job without having to do all the stressful stuff that comes with it, like, and like I said, I'm a stay-at-home father, 14 years. I don't have a fucking job. I don't know how it really is, but it's like, at the same time, I hear you, and I know the way a job could stress somebody out and could mess them up, and it's like, it's something that, take into perspective,
Let me just, Matt can have a say on that in a minute. I think the point I want to get across to you, Matt, as a friend, is you're a good worker. It sounds like you enjoy your work and the people there, but just remember that, like, Barb and your kids are like the most important thing you got there. Don't sell yourself. Don't beat yourself up over a job that you've been very successful and you've already set yourself up very well for the future. Just make sure you give time for yourself, so everything's going to be okay.
I appreciate that, definitely, and it's something I do need to work on, for sure. But yeah, it is a great place to work, and there are great people that work there. And I think some of the stuff you said, Los, about hiring people and that, I think the company I work for, they do their due diligence in hiring people that will fit in with the company, and they have the aptitude. the character and stuff to work with others and work with us. And we have a very good group of people that work there. But yeah, I do need to just kind of more of a relax and just kind of let work stay at work, or just not stress out about it.
I think
as much as I used to. Yeah,
I think as you talk more about these things, you mentioned your father and the work ethic. I think sometimes the stresses I have that I put on myself, because I can hear my parents, especially my mother, say things that get me worked up, and it's just really interesting the imprint our parents can have on us and the effects, good and bad. I'm sure we have a lot of good things that they have given us based on the way they've raised us, but it's funny how, or not funny, sometimes how the negative stuff that has been imprinted on us can affect us the most.
Yeah, and Mike, I've told you before about how my dad feels about my job.
Yeah, you're not working with your hands. He'd much probably rather see you like your brother, being a construction guy. You don't really work. You sit behind a desk and all that.
Yeah.
Some of that you hope is just playful. Hey, I don't really know how to talk to you, son, because I can't relate to you how you do your work. So I'm just going to kind of give you the business to sort of let you know in a roundabout way that I love you. I hope that's some of that, and that it's, I'm obviously not there, so I can't hear it myself. So I don't know if it's lighthearted. You'll tell me if it's more straight to the point and he's just being a dick. But I think the message I think we have here is that we're getting older.
And we need to start taking care of ourselves better. Speak for myself. I need to start taking better care of myself a whole lot better.
Yeah. And it starts day one, right? You can't get to 100. You can't lose 100 pounds in day one. You can't. The stress can't go away in day one. You got to take the small steps, and you're only going to know yourself, I think, when it's time. Like I told you guys, with the mental part, it's when I bottom out. That's when I know. When I feel like I've hit rock. I know you say you don't bring the gun to the farm, and you've never had those thoughts. I'd be lying to you straight in the face. I'd tell you if I owned a fucking gun, I'd be dead 100 times over. All right? When I get to that rock bottom place, I don't want to live. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do anything. I want to be gone. So that's when I know I got to get back on the therapy horse and get things right, right? The physical stuff, I'd rather be a fat fuck and be a happy person, right? But I just had enough of, like I said, being fat at the same time too. So I'm just kind of doing the same things in parallel right now, and it's a work in progress.
Yeah,
that's what we all are. Progress, It's awesome, that we're here able to talk about and to get things out, and there should not be a worry of, being shamed for having to do therapy or a worry for what somebody's going to think about you because of whatever, it's like everybody has their issues. Everybody has, their problems that they got to face. It's like the thing that you always hear that, you see somebody living a perfect life to you, that that they seem happy, they seem content, that they got everything that that you would feel comfortable having, but you don't know the fight that they have to put up every day or something, that you don't know what's under their iceberg, you don't know what's under the surface, so it's like you just gotta take it in stride and go day by day and try your best to try and figure things out and keep cool, because we're a bunch of old farts. We're trying to prolong the life here, and I need to listen to a lot of the talk that went on here, most definitely, and it's something that hopefully a lot of other people get to learn from too.
Yep. I think, Matt, what Los just said is we gave up the gag. I think, you listen to the 40 cast and gamers in beta and bad fodder figures, we gave off this aura of everything was okay, and we're these happy-go-lucky guys, and boy, we blew that out of the water tonight.
Fourth wall shattered.
Yeah, shit was.
Just one more, and Mike, Los, me, we've been talking. We really let a lot out tonight and everything, and there is someone out there somewhere that if you need to talk to, that will listen, and all you gotta do is reach out if you need help or something, and don't be ashamed to do it. Don't just go out and talk to someone, do something. Seek help if you need it. I guess I don't know.
That's the best advice. It's not something that is it's not something to be embarrassed about. To have to do that,
Right.
It's not nowhere near it, And for me, I haven't done it because, like I said, it's like an inner battle with myself, and it's something that I know I'd benefit from, and I need it. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's like it's past. I could get by. I'm all right, but it's not all right. It's not something that you should, let fester like that, and it sucks. Yeah. But
your cup, you got this daily cup, right? And you can, all these emotions and feelings. Sometimes the cup overflows. There's only so much the cup can hold on a daily basis, and it's how do you manage that overflow? Do you sweep it aside, like you say, Los, sometimes and just I'll get by with it, or do you not able to sweep it by that day, and then you have that fucking sort of 5-10 minutes of just verbal diarrhea of lashing out and acting like a fucking raging asshole, right?
Yeah.
And then you have that. Then you have that worst feeling, that letdown, that like I can't believe I just did that. That shame, that embarrassment, that is so thick and palpable. So yeah, I hope. I'm not saying this was an enjoyable episode, but it certainly cuts deep. So hopefully, people out there got something out of it. Again, we'll pick up some of this next week. Denny, I apologize. I have no idea if this is what you were envisioning when you said you wanted. When you said
you might run away.
So if you privately message me and say, Mike, you know what, I made a mistake. I don't want to come on. I totally get it, but Matt, help me out here. Denny's a little bit older than us, right? Would you say I don't want to. I was spitball. Is he somewhere in the 55, 58 range, or a little older?
I think he's between 50 and 55.
He's in that range.
I'm
only thinking
because he's older 55.
Well, the only reason I was thinking that because I know he's got grown up. I know he's a granddad already, and he's got grown up kids. So I'm just trying to.
Well, he looks like a wizard, so I don't know.
He's been shaving a lot.
Yeah, that's true. He has been.
And he does He looks a lot younger when he shaves. So yeah, I have no idea how old you are, Denny. But hopefully we haven't scared you off. If anything you heard, we look forward to your opinions and things that you're doing in your journey on the next episode. So if you guys have nothing else, we can wrap it up. But it sounds like Los, you might have one more thing.
No, this was good. This was a good episode. This is the type of stuff that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to take the time to do it. Like everybody's always into their own things and into their topics that they want to keep fun and happy go lucky, all that stuff, and that's well and fine. That's needed. That is definitely something that people need on a daily basis, like an escape to to be listening to what they're into or whatever. But stuff like this is like it's chicken soup for the soul, I guess is what they say. It's something that not a lot of people take the time to put out there and to make sure is there for someone to hear, because that's basically what this boils down to. Like, that there is someone out there that needs to hear this stuff for whatever reason. And that's the good part about it, Like you said, like Matt said, if, that person who's listening needs somebody to talk to, they could go find someone to talk to, or they could get in contact with, one of us. I'm sure you guys will keep it open. I'll keep mine open. I got my voicemail for the talking place, 407-906-8255. That's my voicemail that is open for whatever. If somebody needs to say something, that nothing crazy that I cannot do anything over the internet, but if you want to talk about something, I'll listen. It's something that a lot of people need to do more of, especially now, this day age.
I'm kind of disappointed that Matt didn't give out the bad fodder fingers number. I saw his brain like churning over there, trying to remember the number.
It's something 659 something BFFF or something like that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, good talking. I look forward to more conversations down the road about this. We'll have to reconvene in some months down the road to check up on everybody's progress and see how everything's going. But this has been episode 5 of On Second Thought with Mike and Matt, as well as Los. Mm-hmm. All right, gentlemen.
All right.
Well, that was fun.